Naming the best World War II tanks of each army is almost as controversial as naming the best song to many enthusiasts, but we thought we'll give it a go anyway. 1. The Soviet Union's T-34. This beast of a machine, often hailed as the savior of Stalingrad, took the German army by storm. Armed to the teeth with an 85mm tank gun and a pair 7.6mm machine guns, it tore through the German Panzer IV like a hot knife through butter. Its production was nothing short of impressive, with around 57,000 units rolling off the assembly line during the war. One of its standout features was its ease of repair, a critical factor in the heat of battle. Though the Soviet Union had tanks with more firepower, none could match the T-34's overall utility on the battlefield. Following their embarrassing encounter with the Soviet Union's T-34, the Germans knew they needed an ace up their sleeve. 2. Germany's Panther V. This beast was a formidable adversary, armed with a 75mm 45 kWk main tank gun, capable of annihilating the defenses of any rival tank. The Panther V was Germany's attempt to reclaim tank superiority on the battlefield, and on paper, it was an absolute monster. Many even argue that overall it was superior to the Tiger II tank. However, in their haste to level the playing field, the Germans rushed the Panther V into production, causing it to be riddled with mechanical failures. And while these issues were eventually sorted out, it was a case of too little, too late. Another drawback was the numbers game. The Germans managed to produce only around 6,000 units. Compare that to the staggering 57,000 T-34s created by the Soviets, and the Panther V's impact was, unfortunately, a little negligible. Despite its raw power and potential, the Panther V could not turn the tide of the war. Moving away from the Eastern Front, let's shift our focus to the United States and their contribution to the war effort. 3. The M18 Hellcat. Unlike the Panther V or the T-34, the Hellcat's main advantage was not its raw power or formidable armor, but its unparalleled speed. Boasting a top speed of 55 miles per hour, the Hellcat was a whole 20 miles per hour faster than most of its counterparts. This speed allowed it to maneuver around the battlefield with ease, making it an elusive target and a constant threat. Armed with a standard 76mm tank gun and Browning machine guns, the Hellcat was capable of tearing through enemy lines with a deadly efficiency. However, in a direct confrontation with a beast like the Tiger II, it would likely fall short. But where the Hellcat truly shined was in supporting infantry units, providing cover and laying down suppressive fire as they advanced across the battlefield. The Hellcat, in essence, was a perfect example of the US's tactical approach to warfare: speed, versatility, and all-round utility over brute force. From the vast lands of America, we now journey to the east, to the island nation of Imperial Japan. 4. The Type 97 Chiha, Japan's primary medium tank during the Second World War. On paper, the Chiha might seem underwhelming when compared to the other tanks we've discussed. Its armor was a mere 25mm thick, and its main tank gun was only 57mm, enough to handle infantry and lightly armored vehicles, but not strong enough to easily destroy the tanks of most other armies. Yet this didn't matter as much as you'd think. Why, you might ask? The answer lies in Japan's wartime strategy, which was heavily focused on naval and island battles with America, rather than large-scale land engagements. The countries Japan did engage on land, such as China and other Southeast Asian nations, didn't have armies with enough tanks to pose a significant threat. As such, the Chiha's role was less about tank-to-tank combat, and more about supporting infantry and securing territorial gains. It was a tool tailored to Japan's specific needs and circumstances, proving once again that in war, strategy can often triumph over raw power. Leaving the islands of Japan, we cross continents and oceans to arrive at the heartland of the British Empire. 5. The Comet. Emerging towards the end of the Second World War, the Comet tank was a refined adaptation of the more common Cromwell tank. It was equipped with a newly designed 17-pounder high-velocity gun, a formidable weapon that was highly effective at mid-range against the later Panther and Tiger models fielded by Germany. Despite its potential for battlefield dominance, the Comet arrived late in the war and thus didn't see much action. Only around 1,200 units were built, a fraction compared to the production numbers of the tanks we've previously discussed. It's a testament to the ever-evolving nature of warfare, where the development of new technology and tactics can sometimes outpace their actual implementation on the battlefield. The Comet, a powerful tank that could have been a game-changer, ultimately became a symbol of what could have been a phantom of war that arrived just a moment too late. 6. France's Renault B1. This tank, a behemoth of steel and firepower, certainly appears out of time when compared to its contemporaries. The B1 was a heavily armored tank boasting two main guns, one a formidable 75mm and the other a 47mm, complemented by machine guns for close combat. The impressive 60mm thickness of its armor made the B1 virtually impenetrable to most of the enemy fire. However, every rose has its thorn, and for the B1, it was its sluggish speed. The tank could only trudge along at a maximum speed of 17 miles per hour, severely limiting its effectiveness at medium to close range. This proved to be a significant drawback for the French forces, as the tank's impressive firepower and near-impervious armor were offset by its lack of mobility. The Renault B1, a symbol of French resilience and innovation, was a fortress on tracks, but its slow pace on the battlefield made it a sitting duck for the faster, more agile tanks of its time. 7. Italy, the Semovente DA 7518. This self-propelled gun tank was a unique creation, built using components from other tanks, such as the M14 chassis. The Semovente boasted a formidable 75mm main gun, making it a force to be reckoned with in mid-range battles. However, every coin has two sides, and for the Semovente, its Achilles heel was its armor. With one of the weakest protections of the war, it was often left vulnerable on the battlefield. Initially conceived as a stopgap measure until the P-40 tanks were ready, the Semovente never truly got its chance to shine in the Italian forces. The handful of P-40 tanks that were eventually produced ended up serving under the German flag. The Semovente DA 7518, a testament to Italian ingenuity and resourcefulness, was a formidable weapon with a potent main gun. Yet its weak armor and the unfortunate circumstances of its deployment often overshadow its potential. This tank stands as a reminder of Italy's unsung contribution to tank warfare during the war.